You are fake news. Go ahead.
Technology has brought us to a point where we can no longer believe everything we hear, read, or even see.
It's been accompanied by a tsunami of misinformation.
Recontextualizing, reworking, or reframing a grain of truth or a true fact in a way that it was no longer true.
But with so much information living online, new issues arise. Misinformation.
In 2018, misinformation was to blame for fueling chaos, confusion, violence, and death in Myanmar. Disinformation, when false information is knowingly shared to cause harm.
Disinformation takes many forms. Sometimes it's a manipulated photograph. Sometimes it's a rumor that people might share with you face to face. Maybe it's a conspiracy theory.
Mainstream media was not exempt from spreading fake news.
And all of a sudden, this can travel like wildfire.
Some say the moon landing was a hoax or that Elvis and Tupac are still alive.
And they're just flooding the system.
This misinformation.
That people were believing this.
The fact that there's so much of this misinformation.
They're looking to the news media and they're worried that the news media isn't necessarily telling them the whole story.
Despite the research behind and availability of safe vaccines, there are an unknown number of websites preaching the dangers behind them.
As we get older, we learn from our mistakes. But what if we don't know that they're mistakes? By sharing misinformation, we partake in the spread of all the news that is fake.
Until Black people are free,
no one is fully free.
Because the issues that affect Black people the most affect everyone.
Everyone. Can you imagine an America with no police brutality, without mass shootings and gun violence, mass incarceration,
children in cages,
racist immigration policies,
voter suppression, environmental degradation, racial injustice?
Where our lives are valued and protected, where police are held accountable, where we have access to quality health care, where we can thrive in school, where our water is safe to drink. It's time to vote for an America without low wages and low opportunity. Vote for an America without the oppression of white supremacy.
Can you imagine where oppression and fear are dissolved?
Where we are whole and healed. We are the most powerful voters in this country, so we will not be distracted by the noise they make. We are going to choose who leads us, those who truly represent us, and vote out those who don't. We are going to show up and fight for what we need and vote for what really matters. We are what matters 2020.
No more bullshit or one-sided injustice. These protests aren't just a moment, they're a movement. How about we all sit down and maybe just discuss this? All lives matter? That phrase makes you an opponent.
Fears of violence borne out. Directly in front of the House of Commons.
But what if we look at what wasn't included in this mainstream video?
Instead, they vented their fury at lines of police. There were smoke bombs detonated, and police were pelted with bottles and beer cans. While the crowd tried to tear down barricades that blocked their way to the cenotaph along Whitehall.
This isn't new for me. I have been discriminated against my entire life. So I'm used to the Trayvon Martins. I'm used to the Ahmaud Arbery's. So I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of the narratives. I'm tired of the hashtags. How many hashtags will we have? We just want to live. That's why I'm here today. I'm tired of being tired.
If you can't hold your breath for 10 seconds, you've got it. We now know that's not true one bit. The sound of this pandemic, it sounds really, really dooming. So we don't need all this fear and misinformation that we're consuming.
The number of virus cases in Russia has been soaring this month. The death toll remains significantly lower than in other countries.
Is deemed to be spreading fake news.
Drink lemon and bicarbonate Oh my
Salt
God.
water, chloroquine.
Hold your breath over 10 seconds to check if your lung is healthy.
If you keep sipping hot water, that washes it down to your stomach.
At a time when reliable information is vital for public health, fake news about COVID-19 might be spreading even faster than the facts.
These fake coronavirus cures are wasting no time to make money from your fear. And the more ridiculous the claims, it seems, the more traction they gain on social media.
If you take some orange peels and you boil them and you inhale the steam, you can cure coronavirus.
Tips like drinking alcohol to kill the virus, and as tempting as it may sound for some, it isn't. Or religious claims that corona was a punishment dished out by God or Mother Nature. Times of crisis are always great times for fake news and propaganda.
Truth is a casualty of the coronavirus war.
As the disease continues to spread, fake news is going viral too.
And then seeps into mainstream reporting.
A vaccine against coronavirus had been developed.
Was this virus genetically modified? Loss of smell is a sign of a severe case of COVID-19. Can supplements like fish oil, zinc, or vitamins help?
Why on earth are people actually believing this kind of stuff?
This gives them hope, and they'll spread anything that is fake, whether it's about coronavirus or politics, it doesn't matter. Coronavirus misinformation is a big problem. There are medicines that have been proven not to work. And we know that's not true.
Bloggers and social media users who have shared accurate or even legitimate information.
And the bloggers out to change the narrative.
As we grow older, we learn from our mistakes. But what if we didn't know that they were mistakes? Well, that's up to you to grasp, read and review, to change the world's overwhelmingly indoctrinated view. So that is how you create a single story. Show a people as one thing, as only one thing, over and over again. And that is what they become.
Power is the ability not just to tell the story of another person, but to make it the definitive story of that person.
The single story creates stereotypes, and the problem with stereotypes is not that they are untrue, but that they are incomplete. They make one story become the only story.
The consequence of a single story is this. It robs people of dignity. It makes our recognition of equal humanity difficult. It emphasises how we are different rather than how we are similar.
I would like to end with this thought, that when we reject the single story, when we realize that there is never a single story about any place, we regain a kind of paradise. Thank you.